Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, community coach, podcaster, and author. And we have a very special guest. He's a Rotarian. He's in the community serving. He's making a difference out there in the Medicare world because Medicare is not the most easiest thing to understand. I know, because he's my Medicare advisor. And he always helps me understand things. So, Jerry, for those that don't know you, tell us who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into our podcast.
Okay, you're asking about my background? Is that what you're
asking?
Yes. Okay.
What you do for a living and who you serve.
Okay, well, I'm in my second career.
Okay.
My first career, I'm a CPA, but I spent most of my life in the corporate world as a corporate controller. And at a point where one of my corporations was bought out, I decided to go into the insurance business so I can control my life, control my outcomes. Mm-hmm. And I brought my family in there with me. So I brought my son and my brother. And we were running a full service insurance agency with property and casualty and group insurance. And I basically concentrated on group insurance. Mm-hmm. But, as time went on, I would just sort of fell into a few Medicare options. And I really like working with seniors. And I just became more and more interested in it to the point where I decided I'm just going to make a career out of being a Medicare advisor. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am now. And I just am enjoying my career probably better than any point in my life. It's a wonderful experience working with seniors. So that's what I do.
I love that. We're both Rotarians in the North Cobb Rotary. So serving in the community is something we do a lot of. Tell our viewers, when it comes to serving seniors, what do you like most about that part of your job?
Well, there's two things. One is that by the nature of Medicare, I always end up helping people, and they end up being better off when they leave my office than when they arrive, because Medicare can be a wonderful thing for them. And the other part, as I mentioned briefly, is I really enjoy working with seniors. And as a side note, I'm really interested in the lives of seniors. When a person gets to be a senior age, especially in their later 60s, and they're retired, they love to talk about their life. And I learned a great deal from talking to people about their successes in life, the things that they had wished they had done that they didn't do, and vice versa. And it's just a series of wonderful stories for me. And I treasure working with seniors and interacting with them.
Mm-hmm. I love that, you get a chance. I lived in a senior home, so the average age was 80. So I got to see people at a different stage of life than most. And it is a beautiful thing to get people that reflect, give you lessons, talk to you about their journey, their career. When you ask them, have you ever asked them like what they regret doing? And if you did, what kind of answers would you get from the seniors?
Well, it's interesting. Surprisingly, one of the things that I guess I was most surprised by, a lot of seniors regret not having been in the military. And mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting that. And when I am dealing with seniors who have been in the military, it's a great sense of pride for them. They always point out that they were in the military and that they served their country. And so to answer your question, for those who haven't been in the military, that's probably the biggest thing that surprised me, is the fact that they regret not having served their country and being part of the band of brothers. So,
Mm.
a big surprise to me.
You know, you introduced me to Kim Sophie with the Veterans Group, and I was able to go to some of their expos, and I know you lean into veterans and help them. What is some of the things that veterans are not aware of when it comes to their Medicare benefits?
Yeah. Well, what happens is when they come out of the military, having served for a period of time, they're in the VA system, and they are not aware most of the time that because they paid into the Social Security and Medicare system all their life with FICA taxes, that they also have the ability to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, for example, where the monthly premium is zero. And the Medicare Advantage plans act as an independent option for them from their VA plans. So a Medicare Advantage plan can offer them things like dental, free gym memberships, transportation benefits, and even pay for a large part of their Part B premium. So the biggest challenge there is educating those veterans what a great opportunity Medicare Advantage is. And it's not easy to get to the veterans at the right time. It's just a very difficult challenge.
I love that. Giving them that education, because the world's changing very fast. Benefits are changing, things are changing, and making them aware of what's available. What are you seeing? Because I know you're always going to continuous education classes to stay up on the changes that happen out there. What could you share with our viewers of what things are developing and changing that they need to be aware of?
Well, the the biggest change is the fact that the Medicare, there are two parts of two supplemental types of Medicare. One is a supplement, and the other is a Medicare Advantage plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest change that I see out there is that the benefits of the Medicare Advantage world are starting to be squeezed because the carriers are not getting the reimbursements they were expecting. And so I'm starting to see a lot of benefits disappear that were around a couple of years ago. Like one of them, for example, is transportation benefits. A lot of people, seniors who didn't have a car or couldn't drive, relied upon their Medicare Advantage plan to take them to the doctor or take them to the pharmacy. So those benefits have all been cut out and they don't exist anymore. So the Medicare Advantage is becoming more and more of a challenge for some people.
When a person is getting close to 65, how soon should they contact you, and what do you need to know from them to be able to serve them at the highest level?
Well, I think that they really should start looking at Medicare 3 to 4 months before they turn 65.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just need to learn from them a little bit about their lifestyle. They generally let me know whether they're a fairly healthy person or not. Mm-hmm. But the way I like to work this is that I do the education part 3 or 4 months in advance so that they understand it, and then let them go home and think about it and talk to their neighbors and find out what their neighbors say about it, so that when the time comes when they're 65 and they have to make a decision, they're educated and they're very confident and they're ready to make the right decision.
Mm. You know, a friend of mine shared, this was a couple years ago, the Silver Sneaker program. Mm-hmm. And I had never heard of it. And I now, of course, a member and have been for a number of years. Would you share with our viewers what that problem is? Because I bring it up with a lot of my friends and they're like, really? Like, A person just signed up for two people, YMCA, $55 a month. He's over 65, and he didn't realize that there was any program that would allow seniors to have gym memberships.
Well, I think my experience has been is that the SilverSneakers option, the gym membership option, is generally mentioned in the conversation, but taking the step to actually become a member and go to the gym is a difficult thing for seniors, in part because if you go into the gym anytime, there are a lot of younger people there.
Yes.
Pushing up, 200-pound weights.
Yeah.
And it's hard for a senior to walk in there and feel comfortable.
Yes.
So I generally try to tell them to find a local gym where there are seniors there and learn to become comfortable with it. But it's not a comfortable situation for them. Mm-hmm. So even though they may learn about it, they either forget about it or are so uncomfortable they just don't want to do it. But you're spot on, because only a small percentage of my clients actually use their free gym membership.
Yeah, I go to Anytime Fitness when I travel. And when I do travel, I'm amazed at the seniors that are in that gym at Anytime Fitness, because they can go anytime.
Right.
And you're right. We call them muscle heads or whatever you want to call it. And it is intimidating, because a friend of mine, Crystal, she's a health and fitness coach, and she was like, personally brought her mom to the gym to overcome the kind of the overwhelmness of all this equipment, how to use it, and had to do this on a regular basis to get her familiar with it. Now she goes with her friends and she's really off on a great path. But you're right. She was intimidated by all the equipment, all the people, and people, younger people move faster than you and I. So they're like, when somebody tells them what to do, something, they pick it up, or they tell you what to do. And it's like, slow down. Let me just kind of absorb it. When you look at Medicare and you look at what you see things on TV, like call this number 1-800-Medicare for whatever, and you get an 800 number, give our viewers an idea of what that's like versus when they're dealing with Jerry.
Okay. It's a great question. First of all, I would say that I always like to tell my clients that Medicare is a journey. It starts out with the initial enrollment, but as time goes on, their needs change. An agent who works with their client on a regular basis every year I meet with my clients. I ask them to give me an update on their medications, their doctor list, and it's a journey where the telephone option is you're basically dealing with someone who is only interested in a quick sale and moving on. You never hear from them. You certainly don't know how to ask questions. And the biggest problem there, Pete, is that their conversation generally starts off with all these benefits that they claim that a person may be missing, but those benefits generally belong to a select group of people and a select plan, but they're trying to make the people on receiving the call that these benefits are available to everyone, and they're not. And it's really a deceitful practice.
Yeah, and I've always felt in my journey, I want to deal with a person that I trust. And I want to deal with that person long term, because when you deal with somebody like yourself, it's a long-term relationship versus, a person on the phone that you'll never talk to again. And then you're getting another person and another person. And it's like, I want to know who I'm dealing with and build that relationship. What do you think? Why do people fall into that Is it the advertising, or do they not know that Jerry's out there that can help support them in that journey?
That's a great question, and I wish I knew the answer completely. But I think some people are just reluctant to have face-to-face meetings. They just feel more comfortable talking to someone on the telephone. But it's hard for me to believe that dealing with someone on a telephone really is interested in having their best interests at heart. There's no personal relationship there where, I try to meet all my clients in person. I try to learn all I can about their family and what their objectives are and their goals. And so it's more of a personal relationship. And I just think that's really the important role that brokers like myself play.
Absolutely. I totally agree. We're both in Rotary, North Cobb Rotary. We meet on Thursday morning at Copeland's, and we do things in the community. So if I'm like, see a shirt on, you have a Rotary shirt, and I don't know what it is, and I say, hey, Jerry, what is Rotary? What would you share with me with that question?
Well, Rotary is I guess I would describe it as a learning experience for a lot of people like myself. I never really was involved in helping members of the community until I got involved in Rotary, because there was no mechanism to do that. Where Rotary really provides a mechanism where you can help people in the community, and you see it every week in North Cobb Rotary, where they have all these projects, and they make it easy to serve. Just like I'm involved in the women's and men's extension, and it's just so easy to get involved. Where I never would have been able to do anything like that on my own. I would have never had that opportunity. Where Rotary just provides the mechanism.
Man, it's beautiful. It's so, there's so many things that going on in the community, and Rotary's involved in so many different projects. What do you like most about serving in Rotary?
Well, of course, it's the projects themselves, meeting with people. It's like you and I were having a sit down with the people at the men's extension last week, and just talking to the guys that are there and trying to understand their stories and try to encourage them that they have a chance to change their life, and that's that's the biggest thing.
That's beautiful. If you had to give one tip to a 20-year-old Jerry, knowing what you know now, what would that tip be?
Wow, that's a great question, Pete. I guess I would tell them to be more frugal in their lifestyle, save their money, because the greatest enjoyment in life can come at your older ages if you have the opportunity if you have the funds to enjoy it. So, and I see that a lot in my Medicare clients. A large number of them have really not put together a good financial plan, and you worry about them, or how are they going to enjoy the best part of their lives because they don't have the funding. So that would be my one tip, is to start saving early.
It's a beautiful, beautiful tip. We talk about, and I never heard it until you shared it with me, is chasing history. You and Mary Jane travel, and you approached it completely different mindset than I ever heard. And we read about places, then we go to these places. Tell our viewers what that means to you, and what would be the one spot you would share with our viewers that has been the best that y'all have traveled to?
Wow, that's a tough one. Been to a lot of places. A lot of great experiences. Maybe one of the more exciting experiences is Mary Jane and I were on the Trans-Siberian Railway, which doesn't exist anymore. It's a 6-day train ride that starts out in Beijing, China. So after touring the Great Wall of China and other great places there in China, you take this 6-day train ride that goes through China, goes across Mongolia, and you just wonder how in the world did this country capture half of Europe at one point in time? There's nothing here. And then you go into Siberia and then across Russia and end up in Moscow. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So that's one of my, but I will tell you, I also have a great interest in Roman history. So I think I mentioned to you that there's a spot in the city of Aix-en-Provence where Mary Jane and I studied this, where the Romans loved Provence, and they had a lot of soldiers stationed there. But there's a place in Aix-en-Provence where it's said that the soldiers, when they were leaving, the Roman soldiers that were heading north to either Spain or France and Great Britain, there was a spot there where they marched up to this old church, and they either at that particular point went west to Spain or went north into France or Great Britain, and just to stand there and imagine what it must have been like to see thousands and thousands and thousands of Roman soldiers heading off to different parts of the world. This sends chills down my throat.
Yeah, that definitely, when you actually experience and chase the history that you talk about, how it makes so much of a difference when you can put yourself in the shoes of somebody back then doing what they had to do. What would you say what are you most excited about in the future?
Well, if you're talking about traveling,
Yeah.
we're okay. We're sort of slowed down because we're getting older. Slowed down with our adventures, but we're still in love with France, and so we're probably going to spend a lot more time in France. France is a symbol of beauty. Whether it's the architecture, the homes, just the whole environment of France. We just really love France.
Mm-hmm. What do you find it in these cities communicating with people? Is there a fair amount of people that speak English, or are you trying to figure out how to best communicate with them in their native tongue?
No, I don't have the skills to communicate in their native tongue, so we rely upon them having some part of English proficiency, and many Europeans do, because the English influence in Europe, and
Yeah.
so usually you can find something. I'll tell you one funny experience about that.
Sure.
Mary Jane and I were on a train going from Bulgaria into Ukraine, and there's a sort of a mix-up in the ticket, and this Russian train put us off on the Ukraine border, and there was nothing there. It was just a train stop, and we couldn't communicate with the people, the Russians on the train. But there were two young people there. One of them spoke French and Russian, and one spoke English and French. And so we were able to communicate through these two people with the Russians to allow us to get back on the train to finish our journey. Otherwise, we would have been left
may still be there.
Yeah, standing at this border where there was no town. We may have never recovered from that.
Wow. Yeah, these glasses that I have on will translate when people speak in a different language. So I'm anxious to try them out. So when somebody is talking, they talk and it tells me what they're saying.
Are
So
you
it's like,
kidding?
oh, it's totally bizarre. And it's you can take pictures and video and it tells me what's going on. So it's hands free.
Really?
But how technology is moving, because we always have that Google app that we
Yeah.
can translate, but you could be talking to me in French and I'm going to understand if I set it up. I
Wow.
have it on Spanish, but it'll just real time translate it. So the idea that you can have some technology on your face and be able to talk and communicate with somebody in a different language, it's kind of mind blowing that,
Wow. I did not know that, Pete. That's
oh,
fantastic.
it is. And I'm anxious to try it out. I did it for a tiny bit, but I didn't have it set up when I was talking to a gentleman that had a business and we were talking in Spanish. But I plan to try it more to really kind of, I've always wanted to speak a different language. Now I think I might have a chance to do that. So, what would you say, like when you look at the world that's changing, you got AI, you have all this innovation. How are you using AI in your business? And maybe give us your opinion of it.
Well, I'm just in the beginning stage of AI where I benefited benefit from it by just asking tough questions that I don't know the answer to
Mhm.
regarding um, various issues in terms of Medicare or whatever I'm working with. So I'm just a beginner there, but I know a lot of people in my profession are starting to use it to uh, do marketing campaigns, to um, to use it in the graphics for it, using the Excel spreadsheet um, situations. So I'm just starting to learn it, but I realize that it's here to stay, and I'm going to have to capture the benefits of it. So
Yeah, it's definitely, we use it. I've been using it for 3.5 years. So, and with Trex and Rolando, we're always testing things. We do all our thumbnails. We do a lot of stuff through our graphics through it, and just continue to kind of see new things that we never realized was possible. And it's moving so fast. I can't imagine what 5 years is going to do in an industry that's changing the way healthcare is delivered, changing the way we recognize disease and solve problems around the world. So what advice, like when it comes to Medicare, and there's a person out there that is in their mid 60s, what advice would you give them that would help them better lean into Medicare and be able to use the benefits that are available?
wow, um, the the I guess the thing that would most come to mind is for them to get a handle on their medications, to fully understand what their medications are, if there are alternatives for those medications. Uh, most of my clients today, whatever the doctor prescribes for them, they will just take it at face value and use it. But there are a lot of conflicts there. So, for example, occasionally I'll have a client show up that has 20 medications. I mean, how's it possible that you could have good health if you're taking 20 medications? So I think that clients who can use AI to understand the medications, the conflicts in different medications, and even understand what they do. Some of my clients don't even understand what some of the medications do. It's just incredible.
That's good advice. Yeah, because everybody's body is different. And when you put that much pharmaceuticals, you don't know which is conflicting and how it's affecting the body. So you're right. You could put all your medications in AI and say, are there anything in this list of medications that I need to be aware of? And it's going to give you a pretty accurate, or at least a more knowledgeable answer than you and I, because it's hard to keep up with all these things and what they're doing and the effects of the medication on our body. So I want to be respectful of your time. We're recording this on a Friday afternoon, and you have plans like Mary Jane saying, "Hurry up, Jerry! Oh, I got dinner ready for you."
Yeah, I got to make sure I stop at the grocery store before I go home.
That's good. Tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of Jerry Boaz?
Well, it's very easy. I'll give you my cell phone. I carry my cell phone all the time. It's 770-262-8747, or they can email me, and the email address is my first name, Jerry, with a J, Jerry, at providentgroup.com. Provident Group is 2 words, PROVIDENT group, providentgroup.com. And I'd love to talk to them. And the earlier they can talk to me before 65, the better off they will be. So I welcome anybody to give me a call and sit down or converse on the phone, whatever they prefer.
Awesome. Well, I want to encourage our viewers to share this. If you know somebody that's closing in on 65, you want to make sure they don't fall into the 1-800 because they don't know Jerry is available out there. So get a hold of him, share this with people you know, and we'll make sure we put it in the show notes. So if you're driving and you're not able to jot down Jerry's phone number, just go in the show notes and you'll see his phone number and his link to be able to get an email out to him so you can get the support and help that you need to navigate the complexity of Medicare. So what would be the one thing, Jerry, you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
Well, it's something that I said earlier, Pete, and that is that Medicare is a journey. And it's not a one-time transaction. And people need to understand that Medicare beneficiaries need to understand that they're better served by having someone who has their long-term interest in view. And that's what a Medicare advisor, a good Medicare advisor, will do.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Thanks for your service in the community with Rotary, and we appreciate you helping our veterans and our senior citizens on their journey to have that better life because they have somebody like yourself along their side. So I appreciate you.
It's very kind words. Thank you.
You bet.